Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is this one. It's called Syndicate by Felix Francis, released as a hardback here in the United Kingdom on the 26th of September 2024 by Zafra. I think this is the 13th book by Felix Francis. He's wrote 4 others with his father, Dick Francis, but it will come as no surprise to anybody who follows the Felix Francis books that this is a thriller with a horse racing theme, as his previous books were, and his father, the legendary Dick Francis, someone whose books that I used to read avidly. I've read a few of Felix's previous books, thought some were okay, so thought I'd give this one a try. This one was in the new books section of my local Waterstones, which was a bit of a head scratcher. As I said, it came out on the 26th of September, but I digress. Back to the book. So what's this one all about? I hear you say, Cliff, stop waffling. Okay, here we go. Central character is a guy called Chester Newton. Chester speculates in some of the latter stages of the book. He was probably called Chester because he comes from a very horse racing family, and Chester is the oldest racetrack here in the UK. So Chester Newton is a successful syndicate organiser. He's got a company called Victrix Racing. What he does is buys horses in the annual yearling sales, typically for about 100,000 guineas, so not mega expensive horses, but takes a bit of a punt. And over the years, some of those horses have done well, some not so well, but generally business is good. He's set up various syndicates that own the horses, which gives everybody a chance to own a bit of a racehorse. But at the moment, after a couple of sort of fallow years, he's doing really well. He's at the top of his game. He's got a horse called Potassium, which is entered for the Epsom Derby. It's absolutely, one of the favourites of the race, and it wins the Derby. So all of a sudden, Chester, Newton, and Victrix are at the top of their game. Potassium has won a large chunk of money in the number one classic race here in the UK, the Epsom Derby. But also in the future, of course, there will be stud fees, which the members of the Potassium Syndicate will benefit from. So all in all, things are going well for Chester. In his private life, maybe not so much. He's somewhat detached from his wife, Georgina. He's got a couple of children. He's got a son called James, a daughter called Amanda. James is off to Bristol, is studying at Bristol University, so doesn't see that much of him. Amanda's at home, but she's got a boyfriend called Darren, who Chester thoroughly disapproves of. So, book kicks off with the Derby win, but also preparations for a large party, and that party is a dual celebration. Chester and Georgina's wedding anniversary, 25th wedding anniversary, and Amanda, his daughter's birthday. Unfortunately, things start going wrong when that party takes place, and Amanda is kidnapped. Next thing you know, is Chester's getting a phone call saying, "We want you to throw a race." So all of a sudden, Chester's life is in pieces. From the highs of winning the Derby with Potassium, his daughter's now been kidnapped. And thankfully, she's released after a few days, few hours, well, day and a half, I suppose. But all of a sudden, he's getting more and more threats and requests to throw races from the people who are basically telling him, "Look, we've done it once, we can do it again." So thus, that is the tale. The tale of Chester chasing down who's behind him. The messages he's getting on his phone are from a burner phone with somebody with a voice changer, somebody who he calls Squeaky Voice. And thus the tale unfolds. So it's a reasonably good thriller. It's heavily based on horse racing, so I guess you have to like horse racing to appreciate the book. And it's basically Chester chasing down the bad guys and finding out who's behind the threats to his family. Quite an enjoyable read. I've read some of Felix's other books, and I don't think this is perhaps to that standard. Certainly, in his father's earlier books, there was a lot more violence. There's hardly any in this book. and it wasn't too tricky to work out who the perpetrators were. But nevertheless, it's a harmless read, and if you're into horse racing, you'll enjoy it because there's lots of stuff in here that will appeal to people who like their horse racing. It's the relationship between the syndicate, the owners, the trainers, the jockeys. How they have to balance what horse goes into what race, how much money they have to pay to enter horses, and he also covers the modern day gambling, the things like the fact that betting exchanges exist, things like match betting, which frankly I thought everybody knew about, but clearly not. So if you're a horse race fan, I think you'd really, really enjoy this. As an out-and-out thriller, it's okay. I'd only give it, maybe 5, 6 out of 10. But it's enjoyable, steady enough read. 389 pages, he says, briefly looking at his notes. So, I read it in 2 sessions. So, as I said, maybe not Felix's best effort, but an enjoyable enough read. It's a fairly straightforward thriller, and I'm sure Felix Francis fans will enjoy it. So that's it for this week's brief book review. Be the last one of 2024. So I wish all my viewers, and certainly people that subscribe to the channel, thank you very much. So I wish you a peaceful and happy 2025. That's it for this week and this year. 10-10. Till we do it again. Thanks for watching. Bye.